Hi everyone, this is Mariana, trainer and technical documentation developer at In-House Solutions. In this video, I'm going to continue to explain other chaining options available in Wireframe chaining dialog box. I will cover ignore depth in 3D mode, start chain at point, allow surface edges in single mode, and break entities in dynamic. Ignore depths in 3D mode chains entities regardless of their Z depth as long as the endpoints of the entities are within the chaining tolerance in XY plane. I'm going to use the chain selection and select one entity of the chain, one of the lines. Notice how the entire chain has been selected. The chain Z depth is going to be set to the Z depth of the selected line. Start chain at point forces the chain start at the point that you created on an endpoint of an entity in the chain. It is very important that the point has been created at endpoints of the chain. Otherwise, the point will be disregarded. With the chain selection method, I'm going to select this chain on an entity that is far away from the point, and you can still see how the starting point will jump automatically to the existing point. I'm selecting the next chain here. Again, the starting point will be moved to the point. And with this chain, you can notice that the starting point did not move to the point because the point is created at the midpoint of an entity, not at the endpoint of the entity. In this example, I will explain how to use Allow Surface Edges in Single Mode option. This example that I'm using has 4 trimmed surfaces. There is no wireframe provided. And I'm going to use Surface Loft to demonstrate the feature. In the options, I turn on Allow Surface Edges in Single Mode, and I'm using Single Mode. You need to select the surface close to the edge, and you have to select the other surface close to the edge, making sure that both chains are in the same direction. I'm going to select the OK button to exit wireframe chaining. The surface will be automatically created. Currently, if we go back to the statistics, we can see that 2 splines were also created and an extra trim surface added to the 4 surfaces that we already had. The last chaining option that I want to demonstrate is break entities in dynamic. When this option is enabled, it will break an entity at the position of the start and end point set by the dynamic start and options in the chaining dialog box. I'm going to select the full chaining method, select the first entity of the chain, and select the last entity of the chain as a partial chain. I'm using a dynamic option to change the start. By selecting the arrow, I can just drag it along the first entity and pick another starting point. The system prompts me if I want to break the entity at this position. Yes. Then use the same dynamic option. I'm going to change the end of the chain. I'm just going to drag the arrow somewhere along the line. And I will just accept to break the entity at this point. I'm just going to leave the counter toolpaths options as they are. Notice how the original entities have been broken at the points that I choose to by using that dynamic start end option. This concludes chaining options part 2. I cover in this video ignore depths in 3D mode, start chain at point, allow surface edges in single mode, and break entities in dynamic. Thank you for watching.